Jayne, thank you so much for being a part of That's Some Crazy Shit. Welcome.
I am happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me. And how can you not smile at the name of your podcast? So, who wouldn't want to be involved in that?
Well, thanks.
Because we have found in our doing this podcast that just really everyday life can be deemed as crazy shit, right?
Yeah.
Just everyday stuff. But
at least part of every day. There's some crazy shit going on. Yeah.
Somewhere, right? But what you do, I think, is crazy because it's just fascinating because it's called scientific hand analysis.
Mm-hmm.
Not palm reading, not palmistry.
Nope.
Tell us what that is.
So the lines in your hands actually mimic the neural pathways in your brain. The gentleman that put this database together, and it's humongous, spent 40 years, talk about anal, and analyzed over 30,000 hands, which is more subjects than any FDA-approved drug out there, to put this database together. So it's extraordinarily reliable, very robust. Forbes wrote about it because of its accuracy. He wrote a book about it called Life Prints. Doesn't cover everything because the book would be about a foot wide, but the foreword to his book was written by a neurosurgeon from Stanford who was using scientific hand analysis with his patients. So it's very, very reliable and comprehensive. Gosh, my next thought just flew right out of my head. Oh, yes. So it tells you, it's kind of like your blueprint for your best life, what your innate life purpose is, how you're meant to make a difference in the world. Now, let me clarify, that is not a job description. If somebody tells you that, run screaming the other way. That's some crazy shit. But it identifies and describes the concept behind your ideal work. And everybody has options. Nobody has just one job that would be in alignment with their purpose. We all have choices. It also identifies the talents and gifts you have to help you fulfill that purpose. And very importantly, the blind spots that trip us up and cause challenges in our lives 360. And that's very actionable. And that's one of the things I love about this work, is that it's actionable. And you mentioned palm reading. It is not palm reading. There are no predictions to this. Some of the terminology might be the same, lifeline, heartline.
Mm-hmm.
But there are no predictions with scientific hand analysis. I've had people try, when am I going to meet Mr. Right? I'm like, I don't know, but I can tell you what to work on to make that more possible. And that's true, what I just said. So, whereas palm reading involves a lot of future, predictions and so forth, and I don't believe identifies purpose. Hand analysis, scientific hand analysis, because some palm readers call themselves hand analysts. Scientific hand analysis does not predict the future. Other than the one prediction I make is, I don't care how good your life is now. If you take action on the information that's in your hands, it will only get better.
So how do you get it done? Is it palm reading? You hand somebody your palm, they read it. How do you get this scientific hand analysis done?
You can do it that way in person. I don't. I mean, when I have a speaking engagement, I'll give people little mini readings, like a few minutes, to demonstrate the accuracy, and it blows their minds. I use hand prints, and I can see much more with the hand prints than I can a bare hand. It also allows me to work remotely. I have clients in 11 countries, and I do the actual analysis. I prepare it in advance, and then we have a Zoom call. And I pull up the prints and I show them the markings I'm talking about as I'm explaining what they mean. And so they get an hour of that and then another hour call two for later, because believe me, questions are going to come popping up. You know, there's so much information that comes through.
You know, I think it's interesting that it's scientific,
Yeah.
you know, hand analysis. There are some people out there who just will not accept things unless science is behind it. And I like the fact that there's science backing this up. So,
well, I'll tell you, James, I agree. And when I started looking for my purpose in the middle of my third career, where each one, I hit a point where I just was bored and unfulfilled. And I knew I was supposed to be doing something else and I couldn't figure it out. And a career coach didn't really help me. And I read all the books and filled out all the forms. I was still stuck. And I went to Google and searched, how do I find my life purpose? And went down a couple of wrong tracks and eventually ran across, and I mean, a few months later, ran across a headline for a teleseminar, and it read, Discover Your Innate Life Purpose. I couldn't click that sucker fast enough, let me tell you. And the first thing I saw were the words hand analysis. And I was so bummed because I immediately went to palm reading and figured that's fun, but it's not gonna give me what I need. So I was very skeptical. And then I saw the word scientific. And that one word helped me put aside my anal corporate MBA skepticism. I listened to the teleseminar, made sense, really wanted my purpose, got a hand analysis done, blew my mind. I mean, answered questions I didn't even know I had. It was like, oh my God, I could just, all these things in my life started flowing. And I was like, oh, no wonder that worked, but that didn't. And no wonder I liked that, but I didn't like that. And no wonder I'm stuck, and no wonder this, and no wonder that. I mean, it just was amazing. And even things I'd never thought of resonated. I knew were right. And I didn't know what my purpose work was at the time, but I knew that my purpose was right. And I also knew if I took action on those tripping points, which we call student paths, that I would find my way. And that's exactly what happened. You know, within a few months, doors started opening, clarity started coming. I got led to the right group, the right coach. And within a few months, it was like, oh my God, if I was so lit up and on fire before I even knew what to do with the information, I want to help people feel like that. So I started studying it and kept studying it. I mean, I'm as highly certified as possible, and I'm a master scientific hand analyst. There's not many masters, which is just the sheer number of hand analysis that I've performed. And I am on purpose. Feels so good.
you know, it's funny how things, I personally don't believe in coincidences.
I don't either.
And so it's funny how things just led you down that path to where you are right now.
Well, and it's, you know, the universe rewards action. I took action by searching, you know, and I'd taken action before, but I didn't really follow it through. And, you know, my third career, I was actually a professional speaker and trainer. And the first 10 or 12 years, I loved it. And then I was like, there's got to be something else, you know, and I found out in a, you know, put it in a nutshell, I wasn't helping people deeply enough for what was in my hands. And that's why I was bored and unfulfilled. And I liked my speaking career the best because I was helping people more than I was the other two careers. Because I was doing training, and that, you know, you really connect with people then and can help them. But what I was helping them with wasn't really deep enough for what I needed.
So I've had my palm read a couple of times.
Sure.
And one thing that he told me is that the lines in your hands can change.
That's right.
Right? So when you have a scientific hand analysis, I would imagine that if your hand changes throughout your lifetime, if you had one in your 20s, and then you had one done maybe now, like if I had one done now in my 50s, those two analyses would look different but the same, no?
The old answer, it depends. Your fingerprints will never change, of course. And we get a lot of information from fingerprints. I don't think palm reading does, but scientific hand analysis gets a lot of information, and that the fingerprints and the information that comes from the fingerprints will never change. Huh. Things in your hands can change, but not much. I've had a noticeable change, but I don't know if a non-hand analyst would notice it. Now, there's a category of markings called gift markings, very, very important. Those can come and go, and usually we earn many of the gift markings through life experiences. Like we needed that gift to help us cope and help us work through that experience. Now we're meant to help people with that kind of feeling, that kind of situation. So gift markings can come and go, and they're important to know about. But frankly, I would never recommend that somebody get a hand analysis once a year, once every 5 years. I wouldn't do it. And some do. So just be aware, because they'll go really deep into a few markings and leave out a lot of information that's in your hands. I'd rather cover all the important things I see and go deep where I think it's needed, not where I don't think it's needed. And then as far as if you're an adult, I would never recommend you need another hand analysis.
Really?
That makes sense?
It does make sense. Yeah, that answers my question.
Well, yes. You spent your whole life creating these hands, so it's going to take a long time to bring out baloney.
So what kind of information can you get from our hands?
So as I mentioned, the purpose, your special gifts, student paths, the blind spots, pretty much everything about who you are and why you're here. So the heart line, which is one of the more general markings, there's only 4 types. So that's your relationship style, how you communicate in relationship, how you express love and affection, how you want love and affection expressed to you. Every fingerprint means something. And I would say 75% of my clients have a fingerprint, at least one in their hands.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. And they're usually like up here or up here. Those are the most common places, but I do see, I would say about 25% of people have one down in here, which is very important. And the tripping points, it's really, they impact us 360. So it can be things about, there's so many options. Some people say, well, like, what's a purpose? There's so many options. That's another thing I like about it. There's not just 7 boxes or 9 boxes that you're put in. There are hundreds of options of the purpose that you could have. There are some that are more common than others. Like being creative, artist in the spotlight, and that doesn't necessarily mean painting or drawing. Lots of ways we can express creativity. Leadership is one of the more common purposes, but rarely would it just be leadership. There would be a lot more to it, because I do an expanded version as well that goes into it deeper and expand on that. But if you think there are there's 10 fingerprints and 1, 2, 3, let's say another 14 possible places in the 2 hands. So that's what, 24? Places where a purpose could be, and any combination of those 24.
Oh, wow. So it's yeah, like you say, it's infinite,
it's a number.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So
I watched your video that you have, and I found it very accurate. The 10-minute video you have on your site.
On heart lines? Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was very accurate. It was kind of, it was kind of scary accurate.
Freaky accurate all the time. That's the big
Yeah.
feedback I get is it's validating, confidence building, and freaky accurate.
Yes, any of our listeners, I encourage you to go watch it. Yeah.
What's the website?
Purposewhisperer.com, but you need to sign up for my newsletter, right? You have to sign up and you automatically get that free video.
And I'm excited for the other stuff you have coming out too. That was very, very neat.
Cool. Yeah, I do a newsletter once a week, and I explain and show what a marking looks like and explain what it means, so you can see if you have it and learn a little bit, about yourself, or not if you don't have it. But yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? It really
is. It's crazy.
It's
So
crazy shit.
if somebody wanted to get a scientific hand analysis done with you, how would we do that?
Well, I appreciate you asking that, because I love to give podcast listeners a special price. So, I'm a master, and my price is about average for somebody of my experience and at my level, and I charge $497. Some people charge a lot more, but I don't. So podcast listeners, I offer $100 off that to $397, and that's 2 separate hours with me, recordings of both of those, a summary report, the handprint kit. All they have to do is go to my website, and they can email me through the website, or I can send a bit.ly link to you, to Kelly and James, to put in your show notes.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Absolutely. Perfect.
Yeah. So, or they can email me, Jayne@purposewhisperer.com.
And I'll put that information there too.
And Jayne has a Y in it.
That is cool. And that's something that if you were to get it done for the $397, that is something that it would give you almost infinite information.
Yep.
Right? You could come back to it again and again and again.
People take their purpose, because when I do the summary report, the back sheet is a really nice big printout of their purpose statement. And they put it on their wall. They use it as their screen on their phone. They put it on their monitors. And let me tell you, the more often you refer to it, the bigger difference it's going to make in your life, because it is a lot of information. And the more action you take, the better results you're going to have, right? The bigger difference you'll make in your own life. And then some people need coaching. I'm also a purpose coach, a law of attraction coach, and a spiritual life coach. So like me, I didn't know what my purpose work looked like, but I knew my purpose was right. And I needed help figuring out the options and what I really could do that would be in alignment with my purpose and really light me up. And so that's what I do as a purpose coach. And law of attraction comes into play in everything I do. And so does forms of life coaching, because we can't separate work from life. Everything impacts us 360. So I just work on the whole piece. And even if my job is to identify options for somebody's purpose work, it makes their life better at the same time.
Wow. Jayne, I'd like to invite you back so you can talk more about the laws of attraction.
Anytime. Yeah, I love law of attraction. It's amazing.
Let's talk about it now, because that was going to be my next question. Because when you said law of attraction, my ears perked up. So I'm like, ooh, I like law of attraction stuff. So what does a law of attraction coach do?
Well,
can I back up? What are the laws of attraction for
it's just
basics?
One law of attraction.
Just one law. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, there's different universal laws. And the law of attraction there's different ways to describe it, but it's like attracts like. That's the bottom line. And what you have to believe is that everything's energy. Quantum physicists have proven that.
Mm-hmm.
The computer that we're all looking at, the chair we're sitting on, our thoughts, our feelings, everything is energy. So whatever you're thinking and feeling most often is what you're going to attract to yourself. So if somebody's a grump, they're going to attract situations that make them feel grumpy. And they're going to attract grumpy people around them. They've proven that positive thinking is contagious. You know how you're around somebody and they just make you feel better? That's because of law of attraction, is that energy, like attracts like. So what I do as a law of attraction coach is help people put little rituals, doesn't take a lot of time, into their life to help what they call raise their emotional vibration. In other words, feel better, get in a better mood more often, and therefore attract more situations and things that put them in a better mood. So
that word vibration keeps coming up in a lot of our shows.
I bet. Yeah. Well, we're all vibrating.
Yeah.
You know, like a chair is going to have a higher vibration, or maybe it's lower. Anyway, it's denser. So, but thoughts and feelings are flying around all over the place. You know, there's so many books we've all heard of. Think and Grow Rich. That's based on the law of attraction.
Yeah.
As a Man Thinketh. That's based on the law of attraction. Law of attraction is referred to, in other terms, in the Bible in many places.
I think The Secret is based on the
Totally.
law of attraction.
Totally.
Right? All based on that one universal law. And I think when, you know, that's just one of many universal laws.
That's right.
You know, so there are other universal laws that I think will help bolster the law of attraction. And one of them that you said is you have to take action.
Yep.
Right?
Towards action. And that's the thing with law of attraction. I mean, it just, you know, like I took action on my hand analysis when I got it. And I didn't know what I wanted to do yet, but I also knew if I took action, the universe would support me in that. So we can't just sit back and wish and then think shit's going to fall, crazy shit's going to fall out of the sky. We got to take action. You know, so that's what I do as a law of attraction coach, is put rituals into play, and things like affirmations, which can be so powerful. Little things. You know, I've got a series of little short 21 little short videos all about law of attraction that I send to my coaching clients. They get those as part of it. So yeah, it's to help people attract more of what they want into their lives, whether it's feelings or stuff or money or a relationship or whatever.
Very cool.
That is very, very cool. So tell us again, Jayne, the website so that we can go get our scientific hand analysis.
It is like horse whisperer, but purpose whisperer, because I am a horse freak and to fit. So purposewhisperer.com. They can email me through a form there. I mean, if they go to buy a hand analysis on the website, it will be the $497. So they need to reach out to me.
And what's the email?
Jayne, Jayne, at purposewhisperer.com.
Perfect. Jayne, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yes.
I think it's fascinating.
Well,
And I think it's crazy shit.
I'm going to get mine done. I can't wait to get mine done. You've piqued my interest. I truly want to have this this scientific hand analysis done.
It will blow your mind. It is amazing. And if you take action on it, absolutely life-changing, regardless of how good your life already is. So thank you for inviting me. You guys have been really fun to talk with.
Well, thank you. You're welcome back anytime. We'd love to have you come back.
All right. Just reach out.
Welcome to another episode of That's Some Crazy Shit with Kelly and James. I am Kelly, and my co-host with the most is James.
What up, Special K? Glad to be here again.
Not a lot. I told you last week that we were going to have a guest, and it had something to do with your hand and your brain.
Yeah, and I said Muppets, and you said no.
No, not Muppets, not puppets, no ventriloquism or anything like that going on. This is called scientific hand analysis.
Now, this is not palmistry, correct?
This is not palmistry. This is not palm reading. This is scientific hand analysis.
There's that word, scientific.
And our guest is a coach. Well, she's actually a certified, she has the highest certification that you can have for this. Her name is Jayne Sanders. And the one thing that she said is that the lines in your hand correspond with the neural pathways in your brain.
I know, that blew my mind when she said that.
So who knew that your hands are the neural blueprint to your brain? And through this thing called scientific hands analysis, she can tell you what your life purpose is. And I got one more thing. Because she is such a fabulous guest, she is going to give all of our listeners a special discount code so that they can get this done at a discount.
Which I thought was very cool.
Which I thought was very cool. The discount code, I will tell you guys in the outro when after you've listened to her, where you can go and get your information, get your hand analysis done, your scientific hand analysis, and find out what your purpose is. She was cool. I can't wait to bring her on.
Well, let's do it then, my friend.
All right. Welcome to the podcast. Scientific hand analysis certified expert, Jayne Sanders.
You know, I like that it's scientific hand analysis, because like we were talking in the podcast, there are some people who will not, think this stuff is legit unless there's science behind it. And there's science behind this, and I think that's very cool that all the things you can glean from this information, are you serious? Your life purpose from your hand,
Could you imagine if everybody knew what their life purpose was? What a completely different place we would live.
Serious, who knows if we're where we're supposed to be or not, but can you imagine if like you're saying, parents get it for their children, and then they can help plan their children's future so that they can achieve that, their life purpose,
Yeah,
that would be a different.
We didn't record that part.
Society.
We didn't record that part, but yeah, she did talk about that, but that's not in the podcast.
Oh, it's not in the podcast.
Sorry, buddy.
Oh, was that after when we were just talking?
She talked about you finding your life purpose. And not only that, but she talked about getting this analysis. This is what I thought was cool. You can get this analysis done once, right? Pay your fee and keep referring back to it. She recommends that
it never changes.
Yeah, she said you recommend that you get it done once, and that's all you'll need. And so she gave a bit.ly link to all of our listeners. It will be in the podcast description. I mean, I could give it to you now, but it's kind of a long link. Do you want me to read it to you?
I don't even know what bit.ly is, man.
A bit.ly is a link that will take you. It's like a link, and it will take you to whatever. Her bit.ly will take all of our listeners to her website, where they will get a discount. Normally, to get your scientific hand analysis done, as she said, it's $497. But she's giving $100 off to all of our listeners. The bit.ly link will be in the podcast description. So if you're thinking that you want to know your life purpose, you want your hand analysis done, I'm telling you, I'm going to go get mine done. And when I get mine done, I will share it on the podcast.
I think that's a good idea. I'll get mine, and we'll both. It's like when Joe came on.
Yeah, a matter of fact, we should have her come back when we get them done. We should have her come back and we can talk about it on the podcast.
Oh, there you go, another episode.
There you go. So yeah, until next week, don't forget our website, www.thatsomecrazyshitpodcast.com. You can get our social media links. You can check out past episodes, and James also has a blog. James?
Any random bullshit? No random bullshit, huh? Let's see, do I have any random bullshit? All right, here we go. Sandwiches or tacos? You wanted random?
Sandwiches or tacos?
Yeah, which one would you rather have?
Well, what kind of sandwich? What kind of taco?
Well, it's up to you.
Well,
are there more sandwiches you'd rather eat than type of tacos?
I would probably choose tacos over sandwiches. So I'm team taco.
Team taco, right on. Me too. Well, that's all I got.
And that is random. James, until next time.
Keep your minds open, people.